Moshe, come to me.
I am the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzhak, the God of Yaakov. Shalom, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Todah Rabbah. Thank you, congratulations for tuning in. Another exciting edition of the Torah Watchman Show, hosted by yours only, Reb Yaar ben-Emmett. Shalom, this is Reb Yaar ben-Emmett again with a special edition of the Torah Watchman Show. When I say special edition, this means this is a news flash to get your immediate attention to something very, very critically important. I just made a horrifying discovery today, and I'm not exaggerating this, okay? I've been on this earth for 57 years, and I've heard and experienced so many things traveling around the world, meeting so many different people, different creeds, races, genders, everything else, cultures, languages, and everything else, religious preference, and everything else. But what I read in a news site called Jihadist Watch, okay, it's a publication known as titled as Protocols of the Elders of Zion. I don't think many of you on my listening audience have heard of this, but it falls under the Holocaust Encyclopedia. So Reb Yaar ben-Emmett, what are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about a book that was written, and the author is actually anomalous, and let me look up the date here. I think it surfaced early in the around 1903. Okay, there's a root to anti-Semitism. It really is. I mean, Theodor Herzl spoke about anti-Semitism in his time of blessed memory. He tried to get awareness to the hatred and bigotry against the Jewish people by Roman Catholics, evangelical Christians, Protestants, all these people. Over a period of time, of course, in Theodor Herzl, there was just a Roman Catholic problem. But this thread of anti-Semitism and hatred and bigotry and demagoguery and discrimination against the Jewish people was pervasive in the church. And it set seeds of destruction in people like Martin Luther and John Calvin and others. I have heard a rabbi said before there's 421 anti-Semitic verses in the New Testament Bible. Okay? Many Christians do not know what I'm talking about because they don't have the right context. Also, there's a numerous anti-Semitic verses found in the Quran, and many Muslims will not denounce this. In fact, a jihadist recently who is spreading this poison even now. In 1901, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion was first published and released. Okay, and he was quoting it like whole cloth, like it was truth, like this was something written by a Jew. To show hatred against the Muslims, the Arab people. And this is completely deflammatory to the Jewish people. And it set seeds like wildfire, for the pogroms and Russia, before, just after the Soviet Union actually formed, after, if I get my history right, Lenin started the revolution that ultimately led to the reconstitution of the consolidated Russian Empire. There are many pogroms that started, and the seed of evil was books like this that was written for the sole purpose to cause Jews to be put into a place where they are defenseless, where they cannot even get employment, they cannot own land, they cannot even find home in the exile throughout the nations of Europe. And then let me read to you some history here. And again, this is a historical Torah Watchman. And let me give you the introduction here. The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, this is my opinion, the most notorious and widely distributed anti-Semitic publication in modern times. Its lies about Jews, which have been repeatedly discredited, continue to circulate today, especially on the internet. The individuals and groups who have used the protocols are all linked by a common purpose to spread hatred of the Jews. Can you say Adolf Hitler? Can you say everyone that raised a fist to Jewish people? Can you say Stalin, the murderer of Jews, only second to Adolf Hitler? The Protocols of the Elders of Zion is the most notorious and widely distributed anti-Semitic publication. By none, okay? The Protocols is entirely a work of fiction, okay? Intentionally written to blame Jews for everything, for a variety of ills, like for instance, in the Middle Ages, the Black Death, the bubonic plague, was from a parasite, I believe, from a rat or whatever, and Christians actually blamed the Jews for poisoning the wells there. Okay, they actually did that. I even heard Jews being blamed for COVID, the recent COVID pandemic too. Okay, Jews have been blamed for everything: the rise and fall of financial powers, corruption, controlling of world governments. This is where this comes from. Okay, if you have hatred in your heart, you don't need a book. You don't need a book to move that hatred forward. It's either in you or it's not. Okay, most people will see this book written from whole cloth that is completely libelous, as full of lies, as wrong. It's actually ridiculous. Okay, so please stay with me. The Protocols is entirely a work of fiction. Those who distribute it claim this documents a Jewish conspiracy to dominate the world. So they feel like this was a secret document written by a Jew as a plan to undermine world governments, Gentile world governments, predominantly Christian. So in 1903, portions of the Protocols of Elders of Zion was serialized in a Russian newspaper, Zamya, known as the Banner, the version of the Protocols that had endured and has been translated in dozens of languages. Okay, however, it was the first published in Russia in 1905. So, in other words, the Protocols of Elders of Zion probably first surfaced probably in the 1800s. Okay, I don't have any dates here, and no one knows the author. Although the exact origin of the Protocols is unknown, its intent was to portray Jews as conspirators against the state and its 24 chapters of Protocols, allegedly minutes from meetings of Jewish leaders. Protocols describes the secret plans of Jews to rule the world. You probably heard these kind of things, but now you know where the book is. So following the Russian Revolution in 1917, this so-called anti-Bolshevik emigres brought the Protocols to the West. Soon after, the edition circulated through Europe, the United States, South America, and Japan, and an Arabic translation first appeared in the 1920s. This is what started, in my opinion, the actually Arab wars and the killing fields against the Jewish people in Eretz Israel that was known at that time as Palestine. So beginning in 1920, auto magnate Henry Ford's newspaper, the Dearborn Independent, Dearborn as in Dearborn, Michigan, published a series of articles based in part of the Protocols. The International Jew, the book that was included in this series, was translated into at least 16 languages. Both Adolf Hitler and Joseph Goebbels later heard of the propaganda ministry, praised Ford and the International Jew. The fraud was finally exposed in 1921. The London Times presented conclusive proof, and that the protocols was a clumsy plagiarism. The Times confirmed that the protocols had been copied in a large part from a French political satire that even never mentioned Jews, probably some other race. Maurice Joly's dialogue in Hell between, my French is weak here, Machiavelli and Monegasco, 1864. Other investigation revealed that one chapter of the Prussian novel known as Hermann Gottschalk Bauer's 1868 was a year, also inspired the protocols. Okay, so where we're going here, I could read you more, but anyway, this led to the Nazi era, even though it was completely invalidated shortly after it was translated into Arabic. Okay, the Nazi party ideologue Alfred Rosenberg introduced Hitler to the protocols during the early 1920s. Hitler was looking for any clumsy excuse he could to put the Jews in their place. Okay, people are raised in tradition. Things are passed on to them from their parents or great grandparents, and so on to just lines of family lines and things like this, newspapers, books, writings, and things like that, and just oral tradition. Well, these things were passed on in Germany as well. So, early 1920s, as Hitler was developing his worldview as the Third Reich, as the white supremacist movement, the Aryan race, which it did not allow for any other impurity like the Semitic seed of the Jewish people. So Hitler referred to the protocols in some of his political speeches, and throughout his career, he exploited the myth that the Jewish Bolsheviks were conspiring to control the world. This is what Stephen Bandera in Ukraine actually locked onto there as well. If you systemically hate someone at your root for whatever reason, okay, bigotry is either passive or it's aggressive. And this is very aggressive bigotry against Jewish people. Many people to this day compromise their feelings, the negative feelings toward the Jewish people, that I don't believe in the religion of Judaism. It's a cult. Well, you'll have to understand that Judaism is not all about religion. It's about a nation of people. So during the 1920s and 1930s, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion played an important role in the Nazi propaganda machine, their arsenal. They weaponized this, folks. The Nazi Party published at least 23 editions of Protocols between 1919 and 1939. It fed the party narrative, okay? Following the Nazi seizure of power in 1933, some schools used the protocols to indoctrinate students. The fraud again was exposed in 1935, but did not save 6 million Jews from being murdered in the Holocaust. A Swiss court fined 2 Nazi leaders for circulating German language edition of the Protocols of Berne. This is as bad as Monkov, folks. So the presiding justice of the trial declared the protocols libelous, obvious forgeries, and ridiculous nonsense. The U.S. Senate issued a report in 1964 declaring that the protocols were fabricated. The Senate called the contents of the protocols gibberish and criticized those who peddled the protocol for using the same propaganda technique as Hitler. In 1993, a Russian court ruled that the Pamyat, a far-right nationalist organization, had committed an anti-Semitic act of hatred by publishing the protocols. Listen, to bring this home to you, in conclusion, we already know the damage that has occurred to the American people throughout all echelons of our national government in the United States through unvetted propaganda that's treated as truth in our news outlets, okay? Propaganda of lies of Russian collusion in our 2020 presidential election, lies of collusion between the last President Trump. He was colluding with the Russians to take over the election process, okay? All this has been proven as false, folks. So it doesn't take much for itching ears for those people that are gossipers, people that are bigots and haters of truth, for them to latch onto that hatred and move forward and spread it out like it's some truth. So if I can say anything else to be helpful with this thing, Please know your history, folks. So if you're a Jew, a Gentile, know what's in your New Testament Bible at the time that Apostle Paul was just as bad as some of the anti-Semites today that are Arabic jihadists are spreading these lies against the Jewish people in order to the end to continue the final solution that Adolf Hitler miserably failed in World War II. This is ben-Emmett signing out. Shalom Aleichem to you. God bless you. Remember, I am a lighthouse on a hill that will not be hid. I am not politically correct. You come to me, you get the truth. I will always redact something that is not truthful that I find out later on. Please share the wealth of knowledge and love and truth to everyone you know. Please bring them to the truth. Let them know and get them interested in science and history. Help them to understand that everything you hear on the news outlets and TV may not be the gospel truth, right? Yeah. Shalom Aleichem and take care. God bless you.